What's good, everyone? My name is Mary Kay and welcome to Mary Kay Confidential. Today's video is all about vaginal care while wearing a faja. So if that's a topic that interests you, please stay tuned. I'm not going to say that there aren't videos about vaginal care wearing a faja. I'm gonna say I couldn't find any. I found videos about vaginal care, but not specifically about when wearing your faja. So I decided to make one. The inspiration behind this video is based on my personal experience for about the last 7 weeks of this post-recovery. Taking good care of your vaginal region is always important, but it is extremely important while you're wearing a faja. So let's talk about the fajas for just a moment. I've experienced with 4 different types of fajas. There's a faja that just has an open crotch. There's a open crotch faja that has a connecting flap from one leg to the other. There are fajas that have the flaps that overlay each other. And then there are fajas that have a zipper. I personally like the open crotch fajas. You can wear underwear on top or under them if you would like, but the open crotch faja make it much easier for that area to breathe. It also makes going to the bathroom easier. My least favorite would be the zipper, just because I kept thinking I was gonna zip my stuff up in it. So yeah, I don't really like that one as much. When you get your surgery, make sure to have more than one faja. The last thing you want to do is wait for that faja to dry while you're sitting there needing to compress. When you're fresh out of surgery, you need that compression. And if you wash that faja, you're supposed to let it air dry. It's gonna take forever to dry. So just be sure to have a second one, because your body is very fragile right after surgery and you are going to need to be in that faja. On to the matter at hand. You want to pay very close attention to your vaginal area right after your surgery. It's important at all times, but very important right after the surgery. You already have a lot going on, you have open incisions. The last thing you want to do is deal with extraness down there. Of course, the first thing you want to do is make sure that you are washing daily. Each surgeon is going to have their own type of instructions. My surgeon wanted me in my faja at all times for the first 6 days until he took my drains out. Talking about 6 days with no real shower. It's like, you want me to do what?
You want me to do what?
So when he took those drains out, I most definitely went home and got in the shower. Washed my faja, jumped in the shower. Only had one faja at the time, so just imagine the level of anxiety and panic that I had while waiting for the faja to dry. Yes, I had to throw it in the dryer, put it on a delicate setting because I needed to be back in that faja. My body was like screaming, "Help me!" Put me back in the faja. But my faja had an opening, so I was able to still go in and clean like a little bird bath. Once I got the drains out, I was able to start showering like a human being. Make sure you have a good feminine wash. I have 2 that I use. I have the honey pot. You can find honey pot at Target. And I also have the Goddess Body Yoni Wash. I'll link her website below. I'm not going to suggest one over the other. Both companies are owned by Black women, so, go ahead and support a Black business and buy both of them. But what I will say is this one's a foam and this one's more like a body wash, like a gel type texture. So if you have a preference one over the other, but go ahead and check out both of them. During this time, you're going to need to drink a lot of water, a lot of fluids to push that excess fluid out of your body after the surgery. Therefore, you're going to do the number 1 a lot. Because you're going to be using the bathroom a lot, you're going to want to have wipes. Keep you some wipes handy. And I actually like to use the wipes and then a washcloth. You can get a couple of trips to the bathroom out of your washcloth. The whole purpose of the washcloth is to just kind of dap it along. Make sure you get rid of any excess moisture before you close back into your faja. Even if you're wearing an open crotch faja, you still want to make sure that that area does not have excess moisture. Excess moisture can lead to infections. Speaking of infections, if you're prone to yeast infections, you probably want to monitor yourself 10 times harder. I am not prone to yeast infections. I probably had one in my adult life prior to getting surgery. Around week 3 post-op, I noticed that my vagina it felt a little different. It felt a little off, and it felt angry. And I was like, why are you so angry? And it took me like a whole day for it to like hit me that, oh genius, this is probably a yeast infection. I don't get them very often. It was not clicking to me what was going on. It was because I was wearing a faja that had a flap, so I was pretty much enclosed at all times. If you do not wear underwear on a regular basis, this may be a very challenging time for you because your body is used to, breathing, having open space, whereas now you're enclosed. So be very careful. When this happened to me, it was right at my 3-week checkup. So I actually told my surgeon, he called in a prescription. So I was able to get like a 3-day pill to get rid of it, and I've been fine ever since. He also prescribed a topical powder. Now this powder, you put it on your inner thighs, and it is to kind of prevent or reduce the possibility of you getting a yeast infection. If you don't have a prescription, you can go with something like this. It's a sweat absorber and a friction fighter. So if you don't want to get a prescription, you can just grab you some of this, or you can also use this. It looks like a deodorant, but it is moisturizing, and it is to help with any chafing down in that area. Those are a few things that you can add to your regimen to help prevent any kind of infections down there. Another thing you can do to the area to prevent the excess moisture would be to keep your hair low. When you have a lot of hair down there, you're going to have excess moisture. So you don't necessarily have to shave completely bald. Just keep it kind of low, especially if you have any incisions in your groin area. You do want to be careful as far as shaving. My 2 front drains were in my groin area, so I did not use the razor down there until probably a month after surgery. My incisions were definitely closed, but just be careful down there if you had incisions in your groin area. The last thing you want to do is open those incisions back up or cause any kind of irritation to them. I know I'm talking a lot about preventing moisture or keeping the moisture level down, but you have to have a healthy balance. If you experience excess dryness, you can use a little bit of coconut oil in that area. Make sure your incisions are closed if you had incisions in that area. But if you've ever got a Brazilian wax, they a lot of times will suggest that you use coconut oil to keep the skin nourished. You can do the same thing at this time. Just don't go overboard with it, and make sure your incisions are closed. I can't stress that enough. Last but certainly not least, while you're wearing this faja, you're going to be in a faja for a few months, more than likely. You're going to have your cycle while in this faja. Some people only like to use pads. Some people don't prefer to use things like tampons or cups. But during this time, a pad can get a little messy. Even if you're wearing underwear under your faja, it can just still get no. The last thing you want to do is get that on your faja that you just washed, and now you have to wash it again. So I would not suggest a pad. What I will suggest to you is either a tampon or a ring. Now, some people may not be familiar with the ring. So you can get a ring, looks like this, and it's easier to run some warm water on it so that it kind of has a little bit of lubrication, and you fold it. Let's say this is your vagina. You stick it in and you push it. It's actually easier to push it in this way. You stick it in there and you push it back behind the bone. And yeah, this pretty much does the same thing as a tampon. The only difference is, you can do extracurriculars with this.
Okay, girl.
Yeah, but you won't be doing that right now, okay? You should be focused on recovering. Honestly, I would suggest a tampon over this one because this can be a little difficult to take out. Like, it's easier for you to take it out in the shower. It's gonna be a little messy when you're taking it out unless you are used to using them. And I would not suggest using this if you are on a heavy flow day because you're gonna need to change it a lot. It's much easier to just use a tampon. When you're not on your cycle, you can still add like a panty liner if you are using underwear with your faja as well. And that's it, guys. Make sure you all are taking very, very good care of yourself at this time. The last thing you want is some type of infection or irritation that could have been prevented. If you have some tips that I did not state in this video, be sure to list those below. I'll make sure to respond as well. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.